Welcome, friends and enemies, to episode 7 of Just Playing Games, the podcast with me, Master Trainer Peter. Today I am joined by my very good friend and regular collaborator, Barlow. Unfortunately, our other normal collaborator, Zora, is not able to join us today, so it is just going to be myself and Barlow. But Barlow, how you doing?
I am providing the role of friend and enemy today, as we have no Zora. So, we won't have anyone to fact check us or keep the rampant Pokemon chat to a minimum. So I fear for us.
Yeah, this is going to be a long one, hey.
It really shouldn't be.
It shouldn't. It's not.
It shouldn't be, but
there's not been that much. But also, like, we've got, you and I have both played some specific games this weekend, which are very good to talk about. Because for the, to fill you in, kind of burying the lead there a little, myself and Barlow were both at PAX Australia last weekend, which was a fantastic time for everybody involved. I think you'll agree.
I haven't seen you in a full day when we're recording this.
Yeah. It's too long.
Got a bonus hour with you at the cash into the airport. Same, that was similar flight time. So
that was really good.
Cool. Yeah, it was PAX. I've been to this is my third one.
Oh, nice.
But I used to go to a bunch of the EB Expos when they were around and that. This one, not really a lot of games, but my word, it was really, really good to just see everyone who goes and catch up with a bunch of mates, yourself included, from all over the country and some outside the country. Yeah. Shuhei Yoshida was there, did a really good panel.
I didn't catch that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima brought a standee that was exclusive.
Oh, that was wild, especially because we were talking to that guy and we were just like, are the t-shirts part of the mystery?
Because he said, we're not even allowed to keep these t-shirts. We have to send them back, and we're like, what?
Yeah. He was teasing us, wasn't he? He was saying something like, oh yeah, don't worry, there's just a thread down the middle that's in binary, it doesn't matter. It's like, oh my God.
The ARG just touches all corners. This man's is capable of anything.
Like, was there one at TwitchCon or something as well? Do we know?
Probably. I wouldn't know. Look at that. We've hit the perfect thing for Zora to know.
Yeah. Oh, we already have. Yeah, that didn't take long. But more about PAX. Absolutely fantastic. Like, what a great time. Like, I saw quite a few really informative content creation not podcasts. This is a podcast. Panels. Another word beginning with P. I actually ended up seeing 3 different ones with a YouTuber, like a Minecraft YouTuber, who now runs his own production company, and he's 20. And definitely makes me feel like I need to do more with my life. So yeah, really, really fun. We played a few games. But before I do that, Barlow, I actually wanted to. So it's just kind of it's on topic, but it's a bit weird. So I was listening to a song earlier, right? Really wanted to listen to a song, and I thought I would read the lyrics out to it, to the chorus. I thought I'd read the lyrics out to the chorus for a song. Yeah.
Just a song. Okay, all right.
It's a relevant song, but yeah. Because I didn't realise these were the lyrics for this song. And I'll quickly warn anyone listening that this is going to be, there's some explicit content, explicit lyrics here. Okay? So let me read it out. Said you'd keep me safe, now you're tearing me down. Am I laid to waste, now that you're not around? Come and leave your mark, vandalise my heart. Fuck the pain away, my bed is in ruins. Need you in my veins, don't know how you do it. Come and leave your mark, vandalise my heart. Now, those are the official lyrics to the closing song of the game that me and Barlow played at PAX Australia, which was Sonic Frontiers.
I did not know this.
Me neither. Me neither. And I stood there and was like, what? So I went and listened to the version that they're using in Sonic Frontiers. Now, to the surprise of literally no one, they are changing it. They are changing the lyrics. It is fight the pain away, my head is in ruins. But the rest of it is still the same. And I'm like, yeah, all right.
So this is the original official song, is it?
The official song, which is Vandalised by One OK Rock.
Okay.
And I'm just like, are you joking? And everyone's like, my favourite comment on the thing is like, it's incredible. We went from open your heart to speak with your heart to vandalise my heart. Fantastic. But
I have thoughts, but look, I don't know if they matter because we're going to change the lyrics anyway.
we are changing the lyrics, yes.
So the closing song. Okay, I wonder.
The closing song, yes.
Story biz. All right, well, let's talk about it. We finally got to play Sonic Frontiers. I played it once. You played it twice, was it?
I did, yes. Once on the Friday and once on the Sunday.
Right, yeah, I played it on the Sunday. I think our listeners would probably like you to start with this one.
Yeah, so look, I mean, you all know I've been very hyped for this game. I think it is the one game that has come up in every single podcast we've done. And it
Balan
is
13 Sentinels.
13
look, there it is again.
Oh, there it is. There it is. That's a recurring one. I still haven't started that. I loaded it onto my Switch, but I haven't started it. But anyway, so Sonic Frontiers.
Come on, give us things.
I was really... I've been really hotly anticipating it, and we've seen a lot of really good impressions. I think John Cartwright, John Cartwright from Good Vibes Gaming and ex Nintendo Life, was saying about how he was just, and ex Game Explain as well, was just saying that, basically he didn't have any worries about the game anymore after playing it once. And considering he's accepting of the Sonic titles, but very, he's pretty critical on some of the stuff. Like, I was really basically I was like, oh, that's a hell of a recommendation. So I'm going into it. I was expecting it to be good, but I personally really loved how Sonic moved in the open world. I think he works really well with that much freedom. Now, not as fast as you want him to be at the start, but there's a big RPG style leveling system which you can get into through the through skill points which you earn from defeating enemies and doing specific patterns on the ground with the Psyloop ability. And there's a lot of really cool movement and momentum options. A lot of it doesn't actually tell you as well. Like, Barlow, did you know that you can do the lightspeed dash and the drop dash?
Is the lightspeed dash the ring one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I don't know how, but I think, because I turned around at the beginning and thought, well, look, if this is, open, let's see what they put behind me. And it was the Green Hill Zone cyberspace thing. But before I did that, it sent me into a bunch of tutorials. And it showed me how to do the light dash, the jumping light dash, the bounce, the drop dash. They just kept going. There was combos of walls and stuff, and it's just in a white void. I kind of didn't really know because it was a timed demo. I'm like, everyone around me is further than me right now, but I just wanted to play something different as much as I could, and that I was. But yeah, it gives you 30 seconds to do as many tutorials as possible, and then you get stuff. But I wasn't entirely sure what I was seeing. But I know it felt good to perform. There's a way bigger moveset than I expected. Yes. Which control scheme did you pick?
I went for action.
I think I did that too. Is that the modern one?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking?
I think that's the intention. So no, I think the modern one is the high speed setting, because you've got two settings. You've got action, you've got high speed, and I think high speed is basically he'll kind of auto perform some of the combos, so that you can focus on movement.
I did action then.
I think your actual top speed is a little higher.
Right. Okay. I said modern because I'm thinking of the other major game that I played, which we'll get to, which also has two control options.
Yes,
but anyway, yes. Anyway, obviously, this is an old demo, right? This is a demo from months ago. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah, because they've
updated it.
Yeah, because I didn't realize until there was a bit where it looked like I needed a giant rock to bounce up to get a certain ring dash. And I just phased right through it. And then the same rock asset, which I saw later, I kept phasing through. So, and also it was on some pretty beefy looking PCs, but looked to me like it was running 1080p 60 maybe.
I think it was 60. So,
no, it wasn't juddery or anything, but it definitely looks like an older build.
There was a little bit of there was a little bit of collision detection, slight issues with the rocks at one point I found, which sloppy is a really harsh word on it, because it's not sloppy, but like it's just like there's a couple of bits where like I'm like, I should have, I shouldn't have fallen there. I felt like I should have been on the thing, but that might just be me being bad at the game, and that was the first time I played it as well.
Right, yeah.
yeah,
there was also some railing stuff where I was grinding, where I was desperately wanting the crouch button from Sonic Adventure 2
Yeah.
To speed me up.
Yes.
But I think I might have been grinding on it backwards or something. I don't know. But yeah, I was trying to push. Like, it definitely like feels linear-ish, like it's wide areas, but
Yeah.
you can go in different directions, and usually you're rewarded if you look to the left and see, oh, there's a rail going off in a bit. A bit of pop in as well.
Yeah.
Look, I'll put it this way. I am a little bit more believing of this being able to run on a Switch. Because if this is like the build they were working with and they've got more time to optimize it, and we already know it's like lower res and all that. Don't know about frame rate and stuff, but I feel like
720/30 on. So I know this. 720/30 on a Switch. It is, and that's docked or that's docked or handheld.
Wait, what? It's 720/30 handheld as well.
I'm going to check that now. Yeah, the Sega has clarified that the Switch version will sport 720p 30 frames per second visuals in docked and portable mode. There are variable frame rates. They have said that there's variable frame rates, so it may be an option. Okay. Know how like Fire Emblem Warriors, the first one had performance or visual.
Yeah, I know that.
It could. It sounds like it could be that. It's
either going to be dynamic frames or more. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's dynamic resolution. I'd be utterly shocked if it stays at 720 and 30. Utterly shocked. I would be if that's what it does. I'm buying this game on Switch. Like that. That's
just for the Switch. So the PS4 is 1080/30. PS5 is 4K, 4K30 or 1080/60.
Really?
Yeah.
That is okay. That's also bizarre. That's we'll see.
I'm surprised about the PS5 one. It wouldn't surprise me if they do something. Something.
Yeah, 4060 or something. Like, anyway, look. They've been working on it for a while. Yeah, that'd be a bit of a disappointing drop in resolution just to get to 60. I hope they do something about that. I'm getting on Xbox anyway, but we'll see.
They actually didn't specify Xbox. Sorry, I just slipped. They didn't actually specify Xbox, but it is generally believed that it's going to match up more with the PlayStation 5. Especially
it usually
Series
does.
X.
Yeah, so...
I think something really cool though, you were saying they've been working on it for a while, and I think it really shows, because one of the bigger questions that I had about Sonic Frontiers really was how Sonic is going to fare with a more combat-centric moveset. Because Sonic games traditionally don't really have that. His combat is slide or homing attack, or boost through them. So the fact that wasn't really the way that this is working was I was a bit like, oh, okay, interesting, because when you are boosting in this game, you haven't got like the little kind of like shield blasting around you before, you know what I mean, like the little, all the air going around you. So like when you hit an enemy, like it hits them first and knocks them out. That's not there. So if you boost into an enemy, you get hit, right? So
yes,
it's like one of his core recent moves is gone. So I was like, oh, how are they going to implement the combat? And personally, I loved it. I thought it was really good. It felt natural, and I think that's the most important part here, is that it felt like it's been there for ages.
Yeah, so I haven't played too many of the boost games, boost era games, whatever you call them. Is that also like a pull a trigger and you suddenly go twice as fast?
Yes. It's usually the square on PlayStation. It's usually the square button. You hold that, like Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is hold the square button and get to the end of the level. It's okay. Not unfortunately.
You can't do that here.
No. And I think it's almost closer to Lost World. It's like a way more refined version of Lost World in a way, because he would home into them and like do his little homing kicks and like attack the enemies and then move off. Because the other thing as well, it's worth noting, is that in a game like Sonic Adventure 2, when you do a homing attack, you bounce, but you're still keeping your momentum. You bounce off the enemy, and then you home into another one and stuff. Whereas here, you almost come to a little stop up in the air. You like rise a little bit in the air, and then you go over to your next one, and your next one, and your next one. Which definitely not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. I think it's actually like I think it works for this game. I managed to, as I said, I managed to play 2 15-minute sessions. In the first one, I was kind of learning the controls and playing with momentum and stuff. And then in the second one, I just tried to get as far as I could, and also wanted to test out something against the big Asura boss. I wanted to fight that, and I wanted to test something out, and I tested it out, and then I got into a level that I'd not seen anyone play, and I've not seen any footage on the internet of it, and I got a cutscene that I've not seen, so that was very nice.
That is the dream.
Yeah, so I was pretty happy with that. I was like, "You're right. I'm gonna try and get somewhere I've not seen yet," and I did, and it was fantastic. And I won't spoil
I didn't.
anything that
I was lining up for a fair amount, but not as long as you did. Thank goodness. Because on the Sunday there wasn't as much,
I really should have
as many
stayed
people and as much interest, which is good. Which is good. Still a long wait though. So I was watching some of other people play, and it was a lot of the same path, but I did notice some people struggling with the light dash or something. And now you're asking me, did I find the light dash? So I'm wondering if that's like included in the tutorials, if you don't go backwards to find that whatever.
Well, that was the thing
I found
in my first go. The way that I found it was I looked at the controller like button, because they had a layout of the controller, right? So they said what buttons are available, and
in front of the screen.
L3 is light dash, and it was pointed out on that thing, and I was like, oh. What? I didn't see any of that. I had no idea. But I figured that you'd be able to light dash. I thought you might have to come back to it. I figured you'd be able to light dash because near the start of the game, there is a section where you can get another memory token if you light dash towards it. You hit a spring up, and then you're meant to light dash towards this thing. And I actually think that light dash, like that click light dash, is it feels very good, because normally that's mapped to like the Y button or something like that. I thought it was really good.
Normally it's more like context sensitive, so to have its own dedicated button. The point of what I was saying is that once I knew, because I'd done the tutorial, how do you do it, I was able to do it consistently, and it felt really good. Because there's a different button for everything. It's context sensitive stuff can be really good and feel really fluid, but it just feels like for a Sonic game, it's using more of the controls, and quite enjoyed it. Also with the homing attack and the lock on and stuff, it seems like got a little bit of like a very little bit of Final Fantasy 15 when you maxed your warp strike and you just sort of spam that. And when you have an opening and you kill the enemies, but it feels satisfying and crunchy, and I very much got that vibe here. Also, it's very early, so even like I didn't get as far as other people because I was busy faffing around the sides and the back of the level. But so I didn't get to that Asura boss you're talking about. But I could still see, the enemies getting tougher as you go on. So
you've got there's 3 classes of enemies technically. There's like kind of enemies, normal enemies. Then you've got guardians. So the guardians are the big enemies where they've got like the title card, and then
in the puddle.
Yes, and then you've got titans. You've got titans, and they are, it seems, you've got 1 titan per island.
I see.
And I watched someone get up to the first titan in 15 minutes.
Oh, while you were waiting on the second day.
Yeah. No, it was first day. Actually, I saw it. Sick. No, sorry, I saw it both days. On the first day, I saw him get and it's something actually is worth bringing up as well that I've not seen anyone mention. So, a lot of the more recent Sonic games, I think from Sonic Unleashed, I think it's been since Sonic Unleashed, have had QuickTime events where essentially, a button input comes up on the screen and you've got to press it. Otherwise, you fail, right? And sometimes that means you go to a different path, but sometimes that means that you die. So there is a big cutscene that is unskippable because it suddenly fades to black and will refade very quickly, and you have what is essentially a QuickTime event where you've got to homing attack to specific points. And so it's the same button input, sure, but then if you fail that, you have to restart the cutscene. If you pass it, you get to the next cutscene. So it is a QuickTime event. QuickTime events are back, essentially, is what I'm seeing.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was just trying to think, did they ever go away? And then I was just realizing how long it's been since I played a game with one in a cutscene.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, like it's Sonic wise, I think. They've had them since Unleashed. But yeah, it's not intrusive either. Like it doesn't feel like a super intrusive one, so I'm pretty cool with it. Like, and it makes sense in the context of the scene that's going on for there to be one. So it actually super works with it. That's all. I'll say
good.
On that.
No,
but, I'm pretty
I don't know
happy
about
with its
QuickTime events.
implementation. Yeah.
I think maybe gameplay wise they just just went out of vogue. But look, I over reliance on them, fair play. But I've never really had a problem with games that use them sparingly.
Unleashed had a bit of a messed up one. Did you ever complete that?
No.
The final boss had you press the A, mash the A. I think it was A, just A, or was it B as well? You had to basically mash a button, and it was something ridiculous, like you had to mash it 50 times in 10 seconds or something.
Oh no,
stupid
no.
You're like hammering this button. It's a pretty horrible ending to the game. Actually, that's the final move in the game, is you just mashing a button, which was a little bit flat for me. In fact, the whole final boss of like the setting for the final boss of Unleashed was fantastic, but the actual gameplay for the 360 version was not great in my opinion. But that's just me. Yeah, no. I'm just really excited. Look, we've got less than a month until Sonic Frontiers, and I'm so happy that this is the way. Like even this earlier build, I'm happy with it. Like if it released in this state, it doesn't feel like it would be bad. But the fact that they've got more time to work on it is just only a good thing.
Yeah, I think I'm with what the very first thing you said. It's just they've got the movement down, and you can go a long, long, long way with a good movement system.
Yeah.
I haven't got my head around why they've decided to do what they did with the map, where you unlock certain challenges and then like certain random squares. Well, they're not random; they're designed, but they're not like unlocked in a very linear manner. You just get like random, seemingly random parts of the map. The cubes and squares unlocked. So I don't know if it means you can't access the ones that aren't unlocked, or
I believe
you just won't know where you are.
I believe that's the case for the first island, at least, specifically because of that cutscene that I was telling you about. Because you end up in a different area than you've been before, and then the map unlocks. So I think it is to do with that. I think it is like almost like a progression blocker, in a way. But that being said, I don't really know. It could be something better. Who knows? But yeah, I think, it's a part of that unlocking the map is very much like you don't want to make too many comparisons to Breath of the Wild, but like when you unlock something, you get that little orchestral flourish with the little harp playing quite dominant in the foreground, and you're like, oh, this wouldn't be out of place in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I've been trying not to make the comparison, but
you don't want to, but it's almost it's hard not to. It's hard not to for musically. It's really hard not to.
Yeah.
Once you get into the cyberspace, when you get into the cyberspace and the bosses, completely different story.
Absolutely. How many cyberspace levels did you do?
I did 3 over the weekend.
Right.
I did.
I just did the first one.
Yeah, yep. I did Green Hill, and I did actually the first 3 in the game. So World 1, Act 1, World 1, Act 2, World 1, Act 3. Yeah, because that's how they're
so basically, for those who don't know, these are like just old style Sonic levels that are bite-sized and really cool, and they also provide the visual variety for what we've seen so far, because the first island is very just like an archipelago with like overcast skies and stuff, very mysterious, very late game Uncharted 4, but just to grab for a comparison that isn't Breath of the Wild. Yeah, the Green Hill is very green and very hilly.
Absolutely, yeah. But that cyberspace music is a real like sort of vibe. Which is really cool.
I did take your tip to the controllers were third-party Xbox Ones running on the PC, and they had menu controls for the volume on the controller themselves, which I may not have noticed if you hadn't pointed it out to me. So I did pump those up so I could hear on the headset a little bit better. So thanks for that tip.
I actually
Yeah,
had
music's very good.
Yeah, it's good, and it fits the vibe really well. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think I want to see more of what's in the full game, because I think there might be a bit that they were holding back music wise. Honestly, like there was
surely. I mean, you'd hope so.
Well, there was no kind of intensity rising between just normal running and then fighting enemies. There was no rush of intensity or any sort of differentiation, which I feel like is a bad move. But it also could just be the first island. Do you know what I mean? So I want to see that in the full game.
Well, you won't have to wait long. Less than a month.
Exactly. But I love how this section was oh yeah, PAX, and then I just turned it into Sonic Frontiers. But while we're on Sonic Frontiers, I'll actually just say the thing that they announced today. Breaking news! It is the Monster Hunter crossover DLC is coming as well. Which you've seen the pictures now, haven't you?
I saw the thumbnail because you told me about it right before we started
cool.
recording. But that is a reverse, isn't it, of the Monster Hunter? Was it 4?
No, it's Monster Hunter Rise. It was Monster Hunter
for
Rise.
Ultimate. Oh, it was Rise that had Sonic DLC.
Yeah, Rise had Sonic DLC. And if you want to have a little look on the YouTube Shorts section, you may be able to find my little video that I made in 10 minutes. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It seems like it's not just cosmetics though. This is the actual genuine exciting thing here. It's not just cosmetics. They're actually putting in a little mini game, like an optional mini game quest that you can do based on Monster Hunter. So I don't know what it is, whether it's cooking or whether it's I don't know, maybe you've got to hunt tails down or something. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. There's a little actual mini game. It's more than just cosmetic DLC essentially.
Oh well.
And that comes out on the 14th of November. So it's a week after the game releases. Completely
Not
free.
even.
So
wow.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's very nice.
Did we know it was going to have a DLC schedule like this?
We didn't know. Look, I mean, I speculate that this game is going to have a maybe not a season pass, but I think it will have a paid expansion. I think there's a lot of stuff behind this game, and I think if they don't do a paid expansion, then they're missing market. I think they're definitely I think there would definitely be a market for that one. There would definitely be an audience for it. But as far as free DLC, I mean, we know that there's Monster Hunter DLC. We know that they're doing just general cosmetic DLC, because if you sign up to their newsletter on their website, you get the soap shoes from SA2. Which is
I see.
Oh, did you know that?
I didn't. I didn't know you even had announced DLC. I should have expected it, but yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's cool. For free or no?
Yeah, completely free. You just sign up on their newsletter and tell them what platform you're going to be playing on, and they'll send you.
I don't know that, Peter. I don't know that.
Well, they'll send you a code. You can change it before launch, and you can you can send them. They'll send you a code on launch day, and then you get the soap shoes, which is really nice. And then the digital deluxe edition comes with cosmetic gloves and shoes. And also in Japan only, there is a collaboration with Korone Inagumi, the dog girl VTuber, where you can get her logo on Sonic shoes and gloves. And they're also doing a thing where she replaces the sound effects. So she's doing all the sound effects for the game, which is just the weirdest crossover ever. But yeah, so there's actually a considerable DLC schedule already. Which, as long as they don't be too mucky with the monetization, I'm not mad about.
Yeah. I'm still sort of reeling from those stats about the resolution and frame rate.
Yeah.
And I'm looking it up now, and it seems like people are tagging it as rumor. It's from late September.
Oh, really?
It's according to the developer, but someone was asked at a TGS booth by someone on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay.
I don't know if it was an official press release, but yeah, they've written it out. Look, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, that Switch stuff is gnarly. Anyway, look, I am excited. I knew I was going to play it, but I'm glad that I have this context now, and I'm glad we were able to spend half an hour or whatever this is already.
Yeah.
Look, I will say, like, there wasn't that much to play this year at PAX.
There wasn't, no.
So not sure if I've already said that, because it feels like we've been talking about Sonic for ages. But
Yeah.
there was some indie stuff, and I actually didn't get to play any because I wasn't
Ooh,
spending as much time at PAX. I was just sort of out in Melbourne doing other cool stuff.
I got to play one. I want to talk about it. Blob Person is
Yes.
like a classic platformer. It's like a low poly game. It's very reminiscent of Crash. And when I mentioned that to one of the devs, he was like, "All I used to play is Crash. It is my main inspiration." And we changed, Crash 4 was a huge inspiration on this game as well, because of just how well they redefined what Crash can do. And I was like, really cool, that's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of puzzle solving, but the thing I really loved about Blob Person was the momentum play. So he's got a dash. You're just a little white blob dude. He's got a little dash, and he can dash around, but you can chain the dash into like double jumps and further dashes on the jump. There's just a load of cool stuff. If you find all the gems in a level, then you get a special stage opens, but it's like an actual decent puzzle that you've got to figure out what you're doing. And you get a free hat. You can change the hat of Blob Person as well. But I spent half an hour on this game. It was fantastic. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam page now. I am just loving that this low poly classic platformer situation is finally here.
Yeah.
With all the really cool like add in time, and I played a game called, it was like Mac Bat 64 for $2 on Switch that I like weirdly enjoyed. Look, just stuff that's like deliberately nostalgic to our platformer thing. Obviously, we just got the remake of Pac-Man World. Look, it looks cool. It looks very cool. No estimated date yet, it seems, but I am going to wishlist this.
Yeah.
Blob Person. Yeah, sweet. I did hang out with some people who did play a bunch of indie stuff, and some other people who talked to the indie developers, because we have some friends that are indie developers. But yeah, apparently the one that you saw immediately entering, was it Cuisinia or something? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like cuisine as in eating.
Okay.
It was basically just Hades, but you fight a bunch of ingredients so that you can take them back and run a diner, which is quite busy.
Oh, that's cool.
So that kind of like dual gameplay loop feeding each other thing that's very popular now. But it looked really good. That was the one with getting the most hype. But I watched a couple of people playing it and heard about it as often. That was sort of enough for me because I didn't have a huge amount of time to line up for stuff. But yeah, I know there's some other stuff around. It was a smaller indie section even than normally at PAX.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't
Apparently, a bunch of people. Yeah, because usually you get some really cool local multi ones that you get to play with your friends, but there were almost none of those. Obviously, with COVID and that, it's hard to get them made with funding. But the other AAA game, which I alluded to earlier, I probably have less to say about it, but I'm just so sold. And that is Street Fighter 6. Did you get a chance to play this?
I played it 3 times over the week.
Oh, there you go.
I played our mutual friend quite a few times, and it turns out he's a lot better at those games than I am. So he absolutely thumped me most of the time. I think I got one win. I was playing as, was it Michelle? Or is that Tekken?
There's only like 8 characters. Why are we like this?
So there was Ryu, there was Ken, depressed, divorced Ken.
Who's now a heavy character, which I found hilarious.
There's Luke and Jamie, who are 2 of the new. Oh, Luke was in the previous one, wasn't he? He was in Street Fighter 5.
I think so. Yeah, Jamie's the new Drunken Master style one, who I played as first, and then I played as Juri as well, or Yuri, whatever.
Juri. There's Chun-Li, of course. I worked out how to do her kick, which is really cool. Like the kicks. There was also hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was like there was Guile. It was Guile, of course.
Yeah, he was Guile.
There. Who really cool if you're not playing as Guile, but you.
Kimberly's the other one.
Kimberly, that was it. Kimberly. Yeah, Kimberly, I was actually pretty good at. And yeah, fun fact: I went onto Guile's stage. without playing as Guile, and he just turns up in the background hanging around. It's really cool. He's
Can't let you play on the stage.
No, he's just chilling. He's just like, smoking a cigar or whatever Guile does, listening to Guile's theme. It was just great. It was just really good time. Yeah. No, I'm not a fighting game connoisseur. Although it is the only game that a fighting game is the only one that I've ever competed in at a national level. Yes, I went out one round. And that was Pokken Tournament DX at the Oceania Championships in 2018 in Sydney. I got absolutely curb stomped. But it was no, actually it wasn't a curb stomping. I won one round.
You gotta take those.
Yeah, you got to take those. Although the guy who took me out of the tournament did end up getting top 8, so I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all, but I didn't get to play on stream. Anyway, the point is that it was I thought it was really good. It was a really stylish game.
That was it. That was really it.
Yeah.
It's the presentation of this, and I know you get to see it in the trailers and that, but a bunch of stuff that I hadn't realized because I haven't watched a lot of gameplay of it. When the characters enter, they enter together and they interact, not like, oh, here's Ryu and here's Ken and here's two separate screens of them. They're on the same screen interacting with each other and the audience. In what looks like a street fight, which was so sick. And then, so I played a mate of mine as Jamie and got a 2-1 win. But we spent a lot of the match just jumping.
Yeah.
And the amount of animation frames that are just gloriously smooth as Jamie goes through triple somersault something, half turn, whatever, every single time. And it's almost intertwining, mirroring with the opponent. It was beautiful. It just blew me away. I love that they use the same font as as all the Resident Evil games as well.
Yeah.
Because it's the RE engine. That just made me feel safe. Ironically enough, because I love everything about that engine. Every game that's been on it so far. But we were on the end of the booth, the screen at the very end, which is also connected to a much bigger screen that people can watch as they pass the booth. So look, we weren't good, but we were, certainly moving a lot. And then I played another match straight afterwards with another one of our mutual friends who is, a fighting game guy. I got absolutely bodied. I locked eyes with some random afterwards, and he just gave me a knowing look. It's yeah.
It was disrespectful.
Yep. What I did enjoy is that I did manage to block one of his combos and got the whole, oh, what? Out of him. And I was look, that's got to be my moral victory. And in that round, and then the round afterwards, I just got perfected. So, that's just the rite of passage. And I cannot wait. To play this game in I believe it's February, because as we said, the last 2 episodes, there's not enough games in February. So, why not? At least this one is a different thing. I don't know how much single player I'll play. Maybe I will. But usually these games I buy to have people over or whatever.
See, I've got to say,
so at least it won't be competing with all the RPGs. But yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, looks amazing. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm really, 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 really happy about it. Here's the thing, fighting games, not, as I said, a connoisseur, but I enjoy them. Growing up, I was a big Tekken fan. Me and my older brother played so much Tekken. We put hundreds of hours into Tekken 3. I never got much better, but Street Fighter wasn't particularly on my radar because I felt like you were either Street Fighter or Tekken, and we were Tekken kids. So yeah, look, the point is that this has really impressed me playing it. There's a reason I kept going back. Also, the line was really short, but there's a reason I kept going back. So Street Fighter 6, definitely want to have on your radar.
Yeah, there was. Look, one of the people, the big developers that weren't there was Nintendo, which wasn't, super fun because they usually bring a booth filled with nindies and even if they don't have heaps to show, which this year they do, or would have, they usually have a bunch of extra stuff to try on Switches and that. But there were still Splatoon like tournaments and Pokemon stuff and just set up casually. They were all full, but I spent most of the weekend playing more Splatoon. One of the people I was rooming with, we played a lot together and got some good wins in that. So, and there was a lot of energy for it around the place. So aside from that, I also picked up Nier Automata that weekend, played like the first section before I realized that you couldn't autosave. Yeah, and then had to go cancel it to play Splatoon. We'll leave the game, so I'll just have to play that again soon. But it is a very, very, very good port. And look, all of this leading up to the fact that I just got Balan Wonderworld for $7 brand new because of the panel that we went to.
Oh my god, that panel!
How about you describe that?
Okay, so it's a regular panel at PAX Australia. It's called Best Worst Game. Famous ones that they have done before is Alien Colonial Marines. They have also done Duke Nukem Forever, the Gearbox one. Gearbox did both of those, didn't they? I wonder if there's a thing.
Yeah. Hey, wonder if there's a pattern there.
Or was Sega? Sega was involved with Aliens, and well, were they involved with this? Kind of. Yuji Naka was involved. So basically, they decided to do, because there's been a gap. Obviously there was if you weren't aware, there was a pandemic in the last couple of years, so a lot of in-person events got paused. So the last PAX was 2019. So this was the first panel back for, the first PAX back since then. And they did this panel about Barlow and Wonderworld, and it opened. I mean, lots of people were pouring in. And what did you say that person, like, there were a lot of people queuing up for it. And I think you said someone in the queue was like, oh yes, hate unites us all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is fantastic. We're sitting down, and they start playing the intro to the game, and it's like some kid dancing and then getting really, really sad after he's dancing, which generated a lot of laughs, of course. And then the moderator,
they don't even know the context. That was the best part.
The moderator starts reading, and he's like, Balan's Theatre, you'll have been there before, though you won't remember. Everyone has been there. And starts telling all this, like building kind of, like setting the tone for the game. And I think that there was a particular line that he said, but essentially, it gives this quite detailed backstory for why these kids, why people enter Barland's Wonderworld Theatre. And then he goes, this is read from the novelization and is not present in the game at all.
And that was a pattern throughout the panel, wasn't it?
It was a pattern throughout the panel. It kept describing things about the game where it's like, oh, I didn't know that. And there was like, that's from the novelization and is not actually present in the game. Just continually. And it's just such, like, now the people on the actual panel, I didn't really recognize them. One of them was dressed as Hatsune Miku, but I didn't recognize them. But they were all indie devs, weren't they?
Yeah, well, I don't know about the first guy on the left, but like the others definitely were. Two of them, the ones who made Unpacking, a great indie game from last year, which won heaps of awards, and both of them somehow thought they had to 100% Balan Wonderworld for this panel, and their stories of pain were quite illuminating.
They were.
Yeah, 80 costumes, but not 80 ideas. Yeah. They were saying.
Yeah.
They showed footage of that second level, which I rushed to play once it installed last night, just to see if it would make me as nauseous as I thought it would, and it did.
So gross. That was
this
actually
like
in the
weird
demo.
scrolling effect. Yeah, wow.
And I just hate it so much. The whole thing was absolutely just it was crazy because it was like a fever dream, and you can't believe someone of the caliber of Yuji Naka had a hand in making something so terrible.
But it also, like, as they said at the end, like it had so much like variety and love put into it, but it's just like, did anyone playtest the game? Like,
it is the
as my mate was asking afterwards. One of those like bizarre, so bad it's good, like enough to fill an hour panel, but we could have gone for another hour. We were already both so tired because it was the last thing of the PAX that we went to.
Yeah.
So it was just added this extra delirium to it, and
it was so
yeah.
weird.
Then was able to pick it up for $7 that night.
Oh my god!
And I did.
So they were going on about the worst costumes actually, and like there was a good example of the fact that there was a good example of like 80 costumes but not 80 ideas, where there was like you unlock a costume which allows you to swim through blocks, and then when you jump you do like at the end you do like an electric attack, and then you use that one to unlock another costume that lets you swim through those blocks, but it does it a little bit faster, and there's no attack at the end. And it's like have them in different
like a
levels.
jellyfish to a dolphin or something.
Yeah, jellyfish to a dolphin, yeah. But there were some glorious things like, oh yes, here's a costume, and it just gives you a mini game instead. Like there was a soccer shootout and a baseball one, where instead of giving you an actual ability, you just play a mini game, and that's the costume.
And then you lose the costume, yeah. All the costumes are losable, by the way.
Yes, they're consumable, and you can be left in a spot where you need to... Or was it you can be left in spots where you need to jump without a costume that is able to let you jump? Because Barlow Wonderworld only has one action button, and each costume that you use gives you a different action. And not all of those.
So sometimes you can just not jump in a platformer.
Yeah. You spend a fair bit of the time not being able to jump in this platformer, which has lots of platforms that you need to jump on.
Absolutely does. Can confirm.
Even when you can
the first level.
Even when you can jump, sometimes it's not enough, because there's a costume called the Lucky Egg that they showed us. Now the Lucky Egg has like a really powerful like trinket magnet on it, so like the collectibles, because it's a bit of a collectathon game. It allows you to like drag the items towards you. But what
very
happens?
Powerfully.
Very powerfully.
Like huge range.
Yeah, really huge range. Like end game fully upgraded in a normal JRPG or platformer or whatever. So what was the problem with that one, Barlow?
The problem is, as soon as you fall from any height, the egg cracks and you lose the costume.
That's right. And
it has a jump button.
And it has a jump button. And that jump height is enough to break the egg.
So good.
It's ridiculous.
But that's kind of like that wacky energy that's like seems deliberate, but the mechanics around it, it's like it hasn't earned it.
It just it
still funny. Like
yeah.
Tell us about is it Box Fox or Fox Box?
Fox Box. So there's a costume called Fox Box where you are dressed up as a fox and you can turn into a box. And you can't do anything in the box, but when you're moving forward, if you're moving forward, the box will like continue with your momentum, and just keep you.
It's not that you
forward.
Can turn into a box. It's that you will, and
right.
You don't know when.
You have no control over when you turn into a box. You just turn into a box at certain points, and you stop being able to move. So where did they give you this magic costume, you're probably asking? Well, they give it to you in a position where the only way out is through a curved platform on a slight incline. So you cannot control it if you turn into a fox. If you turn into a box. There's no control over it. And this is, like they showed the example. They got the costume, started walking towards the bit so they could get out of there, and they turned into a box and fell off and died. It's glorious. Oh, what a fantastic game.
What a fantastic game. But as anyone I was telling about this panel pretty much suggested, and it was just everyone I saw after that. At that point, I was so excited to talk about it. It has a vibe of turning into a cult classic in 10 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There will be calls for a remake.
Yes, there will. Yes, there will.
It's got cult platformer status written all over it. Absolutely. That's why I've got a copy.
Yeah, you had one at launch.
I did. I've had that PS4 version since launch.
I got one on PS5 for all of the good that does.
Do you reckon I'll get a free upgrade?
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, nice.
It says it on the box.
Yeah, I love that. Nice.
So you can use the triggers, which you don't have to use because it's a one-button game.
Oh, hell yeah.
But if you do, I think there's some of the puzzles, the costumes have different adaptive trigger resistances, but I can't be sure.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that was a hell of a way to finish PAX. Obviously, catching up with a lot of people was awesome. Melbourne's a great city to visit. And went out, saw some pro wrestling for the first time, had oysters for the first time in 15 years, went to an A-League game. Wow. Yeah, it was just a great weekend in general.
That's nice.
So yeah, look, there
It's
were
a
some
very
other news,
Yeah, it's a
but
pretty varied time at PAX though. Like you went out and did all those really nice things, and on the Thursday night I went out drinking, and then on the Friday night I went out drinking, and then on the Saturday night I went out drinking, and then on the Sunday night I went out drinking. So, like plenty of
that
variety.
is the
But
way to go.
it was at
That's the
different
right.
bars,
Well,
and
you went to different places,
I
Peter.
did, and
You
there
went
was
to different
actually
places.
okay. There was one. Okay, we went to this place called Bartronica on the Saturday night. Yeah, we went to Bartronica on the Saturday night. And I just want to point out. So me and my mutual friend, our mutual friend. I just want to point out. Actually, another mutual friend came. We played Mario Kart 64 in this bar, which was really cool. And then when we were queuing up outside to get in, they'd like Melbourne has a bar crawl. It's like a bar crawl, and Bartronica is one of the stops every Saturday. And so this girl comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I spent loads of money on these tokens for the arcade and I don't want them. So here you go." And she just gave me loads of tokens. So I didn't pay for any of the games in the arcade.
Oh wow.
So we played like the classic, because they had like arcade machines. So we played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the arcade with the sticks and everything. Then we played Time Crisis 2. And I was going on Speed Racer as well, which was really cool. But the really cool thing about it, right? So Tifa from Final Fantasy VII.
I'm familiar.
You are familiar, fantastic. She's a bartender, isn't she?
She sure is.
So our bartender was dressed as Tifa, and we were getting her to make cocktails, and she was doing it in this like kind of like she was like shaking up the cocktails, and our mate was like, "Yeah," she's doing it like it was like a really uncanny sort of situation because like it looked like her in the game doing it. It was really cool.
Oh, she's like studied the. Oh,
Yeah.
oh right.
And there was this amazing guy. I think he was cosplaying as Ted. No, sorry, almost ruined the joke. I'm pretty sure he was cosplaying as Ned Flanders because he had like the pink shirt and the green jumper and everything. But he looked like Jason Sudeikis in Ted Lasso. So I thought he was Ted Flanders. It was great.
So, what was he?
I didn't get to ask him. I didn't get to ask
Maybe
him.
that's just how he dresses.
I think yeah. No, they were all in cosplay for the thing because
Oh right. Okay, gotcha.
The bouncer and one of the bartenders were Mario and Luigi. There was also someone as Billy Joe from Green Day. Yeah, it was just a really good experience. Yeah.
And what was the NPC that you saw? Was that a different bar?
That was a Fortress. Yeah. So we went out to Fortress, which is like this, the biggest gaming bar area in Australia at the moment. There's one opening in Sydney very soon. But they did this they did this thing as like the hunt. So you go around, there are QR codes around Fortress and then also at PAX, which I discovered way too late, but not the point. And so there are also little challenges that you have to do. And one of the challenges was find the NPC walking around Fortress, and I was like, oh, who is this? And then we're looking around and we see someone walking into a wall repeatedly. And then she's walking into tables, and I was like, she's the NPC, isn't she? So I went over to say hi to her. I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? She's like, greetings, traveller. What can I do for you as this fair evening? And I'm like, oh, fantastic. Amazing. So I asked her the question. She gave me the answer. And then she's like, is there anything else I can do for you, traveller? I was like, oh, no, I'm good. Oh, see you later, traveller. And then she walks up, someone else goes up and speaks to her. And then in the exact same like cadence and voice and everything, she says the same thing. And she's repeating it all over the night. And I'm like, wow, she's actually like solid acting skills to be able to perform so consistently. And yeah, wow, I really hope they paid her well because she did really good. So if you listen to this, love you.
Yeah, good to see. That reminds me, I also went to sort of something on the Friday, I went to something in a bar, which was the Worlds of Bethesda thing, which you had to book. It was just like, just a bunch of Bethesda employees and a bunch of bartenders and, mates and people who into stuff that you are. And there's different rooms in this bar converted to themed Starfield and Redfall and Elder Scrolls themed areas and stuff. It was really cool. It was really just like kind of hanging out and ask questions and talking about Bethesda and stuff. Aside from you could bring your own Xbox controller and get it custom. I was going to say spray paint, but a bit more hardcore than that. A proper design on it, Bethesda themed. Unfortunately, all 6 of my Xbox controllers are already special edition, so I didn't bring one, but one of our mates did. And yeah, the Starfield one already sold out, and that was like the 3rd or 4th slot. So yeah,
Wow.
don't know how they went for the rest of the weekend, but yeah, I think you got the Dragon from Elder Scrolls instead. But so it was great weekend. But look, I don't know how long we've been talking already.
We have been speaking for about an hour, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with some fantastic new news. Welcome back, and for a third time, welcome back. So, we have got our new news segment of the podcast where we talk about all the new stuff that's been announced since the last podcast. And, well, this is one of the earlier things that happened in that time period. Barlow, what happened to the Google Stadia?
Google Stadia is dead.
Dead. It's dead. That's right.
Anyway, there was some other stuff as well. The Mario movie got a trailer the morning of us waking up after flying down on Friday.
There were 2 trailers, weren't there? One launched at
just
midnight.
2 trailers, Peter. There was also a new Pokemon trailer, which was 14 minutes long. Need for Speed Unbound got announced that same morning.
Did it?
And either that morning or the one afterwards, Persona 3 and Persona 4 got dated for the new ports. Now, I know they didn't do it because PAX Aus was on, but it just kind of, because I was already out of my habits of checking, the news every morning, I missed about half of those and had to catch up with them frantically throughout the day. But they're all quite juicy.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I was looking at the list that we've got, and the majority of it happened in the last couple of days. It's not like there was nothing that happened during that time, but I can't really remember anything. But there were a few, like the same day, essentially, there was a Pokemon trailer at midnight for us, and then there was the Mario movie trailer, and that was a big deal. Because, well, I thought it was really weird, and the reason I thought it was really weird is that for everyone, Melbourne time, it was at 7:05. A Nintendo Direct started at 7:05, and I was really annoyed by that because I was like, why 7:05 of all times? Like, just do it on the hour. Just do it on the hour. And it turned out it was being live streamed from New York Comic Con, wasn't it?
Oh, that must be. Okay, so there was some link because a lot of news dropping that morning. Right. 'Tis the season of conventions and things. Yeah, I love that they use the Nintendo Direct label just to get the hype up. I mean, I guess they did announce the movie cast during a Direct.
They did.
So fair play. But it's just one thing.
And they did this little, they had Chris Pratt talk about how he was excited to voice Mario. And then they had Jack Black come on and be Jack Black, doing Jack Black things, saying Jack Black words about how he's going to be Bowser. And he was saying about how he's learnt to breathe fire from Gene Simmons from Kiss. So, I'm pretty proud of that. Good stuff. And then, they showed this trailer, and I'm a fan. I'm sold. There's one thing that I got a couple of thoughts on one specific thing, like the rest of the internet does. But Jack Black as Bowser is excellent.
Yeah, look, I had a lot of things to think about. We actually did see the leak and talked about it amongst ourselves, that Macca's leak of what the
Did you see Peach?
Of what Mario looked like. I didn't see Peach, no. And maybe I'll keep it that way because I think we're going to get another trailer shortly. But so I could kind of see initially. I was like, oh, that's not Mario's facial dimensions. But then you could kind of see like the way they kind of shape the face and how they do a bunch of other Chris Pratt animated characters to, match, I don't know if they like how motion capture they do it, and then within a couple of seconds of the opening, the very expensive looking opening, very epic looking opening of the trailer, you see Jack Black, you see Bowser smiling in a very sort of, teethy Jack Black kind of way. I really enjoyed that. It looks like, obviously minions aren't, super anatomically human, but good to know that Illumination has that kind of tech, I guess. I really enjoyed the fact that they just put Keegan-Michael Key's voice up
Yeah.
in post for Toad, and that all you needed for Charlie Day's vibe as Luigi is just one very Always Sunny style scream at the very end.
Did I show you the person who's edited one of the? So there's an episode of It's Always Sunny, and I'm for if anyone's interested, and you're probably not, but for those who aren't, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is my favorite TV show, and I absolutely love it. So I watch that thing on a near constant cycle. It is fantastic, and there's an episode where Charlie and Mac are trying to fake their own deaths, and Mac drives the car into a wall and tries to set it on fire, so it looks like they died in a car crash. And when
is that early? Because I've watched the first 3 seasons.
It's season 3, 4, something like that.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
I can't quite remember. And yeah, like Charlie panics when he sees Mac hit the wall. Mac's car hit the wall, and he runs after him screaming, and it's a very iconic scream, and it also matches up perfectly with that scene of Luigi in the Super Mario trailer. So that edit is, as far as I'm concerned, the real edit. So I'm going to go find it and stick that in the chat. But
nice. Keen for that. There's also, I love that Fred Armisen just nails what Kamek would have sounded like, or does sound like in some games.
Is that Fred Armisen?
And the best part was the penguins. I did not expect them to use the penguins.
Do you yield?
Do you yield? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because they're not in every game. So they're very, for me, like Mario 64. They're in other stuff, obviously, but that's what I think of. So it counts as a sort of semi-medium deep cut for a Mario thing. So I'm actually quite optimistic. I gotta say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think there's a lot of good stuff in it. I'm really pumped for it. Honestly, I think it's gonna be really good. It looks like they've taken a lot of inspiration with the setting, and Illumination have done their work in making sure that it looks good, as well, which is and looks authentic to the Mario world as much as possible, whilst also translating this into a movie format. I think that's something really important that people miss when they talk about like adaptations into films. And I mean, we could talk about this for a long time. I very much imagine.
Oh, absolutely, especially video game movies.
You've got to, like, this is the whole thing. Like, for those who don't know, there's a Borderlands film coming out, and they've announced a few of the bits for it. So, like, Roland is being played by Kevin Hart, and they're a little bit unhappy about that. Claptrap is Jack Black, which I cannot wait for. Kate Blanchett is Lilith and stuff like that. And they have basically repurposed certain characters into different roles. It's like its own spin-off of the Borderlands universe. For example, there's a clearer link between Tiny Tina and Krieg. But Tiny Tina is the daughter of one of the CEOs of one of the corporations. I think it's Atlas, and like Jacobs is a person as well in it and stuff like that. And is being played by one of the characters from by Danny from 30 Rock, which is going to be wonderful. And so, yeah, like they've kind of repurposed a lot of the stuff and changed how their relationships interact. And there's a bunch of people who aren't happy about it, but also you've got to give it a chance, because the way that the Borderlands universe works at the moment is too big to work in one single film. There's no way you're going to be able to get enough context and stuff across. So, like, yeah, they're going to cut some of the characters out, and they're going to do other things in order to make it fit for the story and the universe that they want to build. It's separate from a video game, and I think that's important to take note of. They're doing this the same sort of thing in with Super Mario for the Mario movie. Like, they're changing certain things. Like, Mario's clearly not familiar with the Mushroom Kingdom. Clearly not familiar.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean? They're going with the original lore almost. Where he's like just a guy from Brooklyn. So that is going to be interesting. Very interesting. Even with just quickly on Borderlands though, it's just because even the other games in the other genres, Tales from the Borderlands, they kind of proved that, they can tell a story that's very not a shooter. It's just basically Cowboy Bebop style with 5 episodes, and and it ends satisfying way. So I'm optimistic about the Borderlands one, but I haven't seen what it looks like yet, so I'm not sure. Haven't thought about it since it was announced, to be fair.
They did the
But
character silhouettes. They did the character silhouettes.
yeah, right.
From,
You
like, a
you
while
just said
ago,
Kevin
right?
Hart, and I just thought of that picture of Randy Pitchford trying to high five him, and it was awkward as. Anyway, yeah. Should we rip the band-aid off that Pokemon?
Let's do it. All right. So at midnight, just before the Mario movie came out, there was a Pokemon trailer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've been out drinking, so I was still awake. And actually, I think I was working on something. What did I do? What did I have to do? I had to redo one of the thumbnails for a video that I put out because I spelt deluxe wrong, as pointed out by you, Barlow. So thank you.
Oh yeah, was that night?
So like
Right.
I'm like 10 to 11, 10 to midnight. I'm like, oh my god, I've got to redo this entire thumbnail because I'd moved on and done other thumbnails since then, so I had to remake the entire thing from scratch. But luckily, that's why simple thumbnails are better. Anyway, so yeah, essentially, this Pokemon trailer came out, and they hadn't really mentioned. No one, I'd not seen any mention of how long this trailer was or anything like that. But it turned
No,
out to
neither.
be. I was expecting like the normal like 3 minutes or something, and a couple of punchy things. I was like, hopefully we'll get like a Paldean form or two. There will reveal some new Pokemon, maybe show off a new character or something like that. But no, this was a gameplay overview trailer, and it was 14 minutes long.
Yeah, it was. And my first thought was, oh no, what are we getting here? But thankfully it wasn't. It was a decent combo of like mostly just showing stuff that we had just read in text form on the website.
Yeah,
But as you recommended to me during PAX, you said, yeah, go watch Austin John's video because he points out that there's some hidden stuff in there in plain sight. And my word is there.
and that the really interesting thing about that though, really interesting thing. I actually watched because I was doing some research on YouTube Shorts because it's something that I'm looking at expanding into. I watched one from Wolfie Glick, who is the ex Pokemon World Champion.
Yeah, I was just watching his ranking video.
Yeah, he's good. I've got a lot of time for him. I've got a lot of time for him. I really hoped that I was going to meet him at the World Championships, but I didn't. Anyway, so Wolfie pointed out that none of the 5 extra Pokemon that were teased in that trailer were in the Japanese trailer.
Wow.
They'd been scrubbed.
Well, okay, so for context, there's a scene where in the trailer where it just looks like, a normal gameplay that's matching what the announcer's saying. But in the corner, there's a mini map with 3 brand new Pokemon. And
Those Pokemon,
yeah, look,
one of them is a normal mouse. I'm sorry, it's just a normal mouse. It just looks like a mouse, like a cartoon mouse. That's what
well, it looks like a cartoon. Yeah, it's got massive ears and stuff. But and then there's a mushroom thing that may or may not be a sentient block of concrete that's broken. Look, it's weird. And then there's like a parrot thing.
I really hope that's like a Paldean form of what's that mushroom Pokemon?
Broomish.
Fungus.
A fungus.
Yeah.
You think? I think it looks too different.
It does look very different, but that's what I hope. It looks like
a poison mushroom.
It looks like a Mario power up.
It does. It does.
Is, a little bit mad there. But there's a couple of others, of course. So what they show off, part of the thing that they show off in as this trailer, is a thing called Let's Go. Let's Go is a feature that shows off. What does it show off? It shows that essentially you can send the Pokemon out and they'll go and do stuff for you, like they'll go and auto battle, and that is how you take down the Team Star bases, is by essentially taking down a certain number of enemies. It looks like you have to beat 30 enemies in that first one, and they just come at you in waves. It's like a horde mode essentially. Right in the distance, in the far off distance, you see a Pokemon spawn and start, it looks like it's like coming for you. He's like this tiny little. He's just this tiny little dude is in at the end, and he's running towards you. But kind of like facially, it looks a little bit like a pre-evolution for Armarouge.
Oh yes, that pixely boy. Yeah.
And I've seen like he's kind of red. I could genuinely see it being like you get like so you've got like Armarouge and you've got Ceruledge, right? So one is Scarlet exclusive, one is Violet exclusive. I'm wondering whether you like the base form is the same, but you get a different version depending on which version you get.
Yeah, I'm thinking more Tyrogue, but I guess I'm not thinking big enough.
Maybe, yeah, because the little dude is he's got a little bit of red on him, just like Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. So yeah, like he doesn't look like he's going to go into Ceruledge. And it's not a neutral color. He's not like a kind of purplish color either that would blend between the two. So I am thinking that it's possibly like this one will exclusively go into Armarouge, whereas maybe there's a blue version of the same little dude who turns into Ceruledge. I guess not quite sure, but yeah.
Yeah, they also showed off a new evolution for Girafarig, which is promising. Yeah, Farigarif. Promising because usually when they evolve a previous Pokemon just outright, without any sort of Paldean form being involved or whatever, well, they've only done that in Gen 2 and 4. Am I right?
Well, that's a good point. It's like a classic Gen 2 and Gen 4 evolution. Yeah. It's
and
like
in Gen 2 and Gen 4, what did we get? New evolutions. So that's where my brain goes.
I do have a little bit. It's a little bit frustrating for me though. I'm 90% sure that this is like a get to hold an item and trade it evolution.
Really?
Because they showed it straight after it had been traded, evolving.
No, I was looking for that because I noticed why they're trading in Girafarig, but then they show it battling in the wild. Specifically while being Let's Go, and then it evolves. So I'm thinking, what if you have to just let it run around in the wild as a Let's Go mechanic, which is the point Austin John makes as well in his video.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I hadn't considered that, and I think that's what theoretically you could have with Stantler, couldn't you? Although Stantler was like, because Stantler turning into Weird Ear is using 20 agile Psy Shield blasts.
Yeah, and there's Quill.
Yeah, but Quillfish is a Hisuian form as well, though. It's not just a
true. Yeah,
Quillfish.
no, true.
Quillfish.
True.
What's
its name though? It's a really cool name. Why have I forgotten it?
Overquill.
Overquill. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I lost my mind when I saw that. I was so happy. This is such a good name. Such a good name. But yes, so I think, yeah, like it's definitely a really cool evolution. I really like it. And I didn't realize, obviously, I didn't do the thing that I normally do of like checking the website after. Have you seen its abilities?
Yeah, I think they're both new.
They're both new and they're both bangers.
Yeah, you get to re-eat a berry somewhat late, sometime later in the
like
in the battle.
Later. One turn later.
One turn later. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
The berry and suddenly like, oh, hey, I really liked that Enigma berry, which raised all my stats. Let me just do it again.
Well, it's a random stat, right? It doesn't do all your stats.
Oh, is that Enigma? What am I thinking? Is it Staff that does all of them?
Is there? I don't think there's a berry that does all of this. There surely isn't, without a penalty.
We need Zora to do the fact checking.
That's it's happened so many times already.
But yeah, like so it could be really useful. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have the thing as well. The thing as well is it doesn't actually specify whether or not it eats the berry, or does it specify if it eats the berry? So basically, like, can you fling a berry at it and it activate Chewing Cud? Because that's the ability name is Chew Cud. If you flung it at it and it ate the berry, would it? Isn't that how it works? with the berries?
If you fling it,
Yeah.
well, I think. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of mechanical questions for it, but normally you eat the berry and it would. I'd say it doesn't get used up, and then it gets used up the second time. That would be my guess.
But yeah, it's still a really cool ability. And then the other one is like Armored Tail, and it basically blocks priority moves. It just blocks priority moves, and it seems like it's in general. So like, there's a lot of applications for that. Like, if it is just like kind of psychic terrain. Is it psychic terrain or no? Yeah, psychic terrain blocks priority moves. So it looks like it's just a kind of like a localized version of that.
Quick guard as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be
Stops that
really good in doubles.
100%.
Yeah, if it stops fake out.
Yeah.
And you expect it to have better stats as well. I mean, it might be slower knowing them, Game Freak, and what they tend to do with this kind of stuff with their monkey's paw stuff. But yeah, like with those kinds of abilities, I don't mind the design at all. My sister used to love Girafarig. Was her main in Pokemon Gold, I think, back in the day. Yeah, not sure how I feel about all these single stages getting evolutions. But, you know, I'm excited, and I'm especially excited about the potential for more, because usually Game Freak doesn't do one.
There is one thing.
They do a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think...
By the way, the Enigma Berry is just, if you hit by a super effective move, it will restore your HP. So, not even close.
There is just one thing that that I've got to say about Farigarif. Farigarif feels like a mega evolution for Girafarig.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like...
I feel
what's
like...
the word? Like mega enough. I don't think it's like over the top enough. Like one thing that I associate with... Oh, I guess.
And
I
yeah,
guess.
there's a few. Do you know what I mean? There are some Pokemon that aren't particular. Like even Mega Lucario isn't particularly over the top.
Oh no, I think Mega Lucario. That's what I'm thinking of. Like it's just Lucario with like a bunch more flamboyant clothing. So it's just kind of like I'm going out for a night kind of vibe. I think a Pinsir being like super crazy. The Garchomp thing.
Pinsir being a flying type because. Pinsir being a flying type because the original, I'm pretty sure that they planned a evolution for it that was flying type. I think that was in the
that would be cool. That would be cool. That was my favorite. That was my favorite Mega in the weeks after it first came out. Used that a lot. Really enjoyed it.
I loved Mega Salamence, but obviously in competitive, that thing was just a menace because of Double Edge.
It was immense, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah.
We're going to take a break. No. Just so I can cry. Look. There was a lot of really... Do you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of cool stuff in that trailer, though. Like, so much good stuff in that Pokemon trailer. Like, they showed off a bit
definitely
more...
less per minute than we normally get, but I was happy with it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to release 14 minutes. You don't want it to, like, go Gen 7 and just spoil a bunch of stuff. So I was glad that they took it chill and
the majority of
mixed it up.
Yeah, like the majority
of it looks
chill. Like it looks like a really like the actual gameplay looks pretty smooth. It looks like it's going to be fun to explore. They very clearly scrubbed the place scrubbed all the wild Pokemon away that would appear in that normal situation, like very clearly, because there's no way it's going to be that barren. Which is actually
do we know if they appear in the wild? Have we seen that?
We've seen clips of we've seen clips in the first trailer actually. You see he's walking.
Of course, as the Game Freak thing happens. Yeah, cool. No, I'm an idiot. Yep, fair enough. I know it at the end, and Austin John also points this out. I initially didn't know what this meant, and I'm like, why would you say that? But the announcer's like, did you spot something that might be your treasure? And it's like, first of all, obviously not an Auntie Donna reference, even though I thought that was what it was. But anyway, and then Austin John seems to think that's why they didn't scrub the Pokemon. Like it was catch a glimpse kind of stuff. Like they were almost teasing you to
it does
dig in because they knew everyone would.
Yeah.
Which is different, and I think I like it. It reminds me very much of like following Gen 4 and Gen 5 as they were sort of leaked and then released 6 months early in Japan, and seeing just the sprites and trying to imagine what they would look like. It's weirdly nostalgic. But yeah, looking good, except for the frame rate on the Sunflora.
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning from a AAA title, but
what else is new?
We will, as long as it's not too impactful on the gameplay, I'm not overly fussed. It's frustrating to see, but look, it is what it is. At a certain point, as long as the game's fine, it doesn't matter too much.
Yep, fair enough. It probably won't affect.
I hope, I hope not. I hope not. But yeah, look, I think it just definitely looks like a really fun game. There's a lot of cool customization in there as well, which they showed off like that. Those menus went on for ages for the customization, which is really in depth and really nice. It's just a shame that it still definitely looks like you can only wear your school uniform. Hopefully the post game just opens up loads of customization options, but anyway.
Yep. And there's the customization. There's a full crafting system where you got to build TMs, so they're going back to single use.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks wild.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I was looking on that screen. Oh my God. I was like staring at that screen for all of the... because it shows the Pokemon doing the attacks. And I was like, I bet there's a secret one hidden here. I bet there's a new one hidden here. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I couldn't see any. So, but yeah, what a really cool idea. Like to, like taking the ideas from Pokemon Legends Arceus of like getting materials and crafting them and just putting them into something that works more in context with the Pokemon standard mainline game. Fantastic implementation. Really happy with that, and also solves the whole one-use TM thing, whilst also making them still pretty available.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Should we do like a lightning round of the rest?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. So we've discussed the Mario movie and we've discussed the Pokemon trailer. But the other thing, one of the other things that we mentioned, Need for Speed Unbound got announced. Need for Speed games aren't particularly my jam, but I think you're pretty excited for this one, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't play all of them. I haven't played the last several, actually. But I am part of that generation that played a lot of Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2 on the PS2. Knew those 10 main cars and all the songs on the soundtrack. So I'm always craving, there's always a part of me that's like, I want a Need for Speed game to be good and to appeal to me. And this does, but not in that way at all. It's very, very, very striking visually. It's got like a cel-shaded kind of vibe that's like anime inspired. And it's announced immediately for release on the 2nd of December, the same day as the Callisto Protocol, which we've talked about a few times on the podcast, and the new date for the delayed Marvel Midnight Suns. So December's looking really, really annoyingly good.
Yeah, it's pretty
for
stacked.
games, particularly early on. Because you got Crisis Core, Dragon Quest Treasures, and High on Life coming a couple of weeks after that.
Was High on Life December as well? I didn't realise.
Yeah, same day as Crisis Core, December 13th now. Yeah, got delayed from October.
Yeah,
because October itself obviously also packed. But yeah, look, if you got not much to say, then fair play. But I'm keen. I'm probably going to give this a try.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah. Now, also, we got the dates for Persona 3 and 4, and I felt personally attacked because I need to shut my mouth when I ask for RPGs to come out in January.
Yes,
because now I've got 4 of them, because 2 Persona games, one of which is my top 5 of all time, one of which has not been on a playable legal platform since the PSP. It's coming out the day before the brand new Fire Emblem game, and 8 days before that Forspoken game I'm definitely playing, regardless of how cringe the story looks. So, what do you think about this release date, Peter?
I'm very happy because I was expecting them to release a lot later. I kind of was expecting them to release down, kind of like March, June, sort of, between those months. So I'm very happy that they're coming out pretty soon, especially because I'm not going to pick up Persona 5 Royal on release on Switch because I still haven't fully completed it on the PlayStation 4. I'm very close to the end, but look, I've played the game and I love it, and I'm just really excited to get my teeth into 3 and 4, especially 4 Golden. I keep listening to the soundtrack and I love it. I've got snowflakes in my head as we speak. So
As you
it's
should.
just going to be...
As you should. Well played, Peter.
It's just fantastic. And yeah, it's going to be really nice, apparently, like a really cool... it's going to be really nice to experience that. And I know that it's available on Steam, and I know it's been available for ages, but like, for my lifestyle, playing a long RPG suits me better on the Switch than it does on any other thing. And Persona 5 Royal is the game that has taught me that, because I don't get a lot of time to just sit there and play games on the TV anymore. Because I'm either working or, like me and my partner are watching TV, and she's, she wants to watch TV, and so like me playing a game like that isn't really too conducive to that. So Persona 4 on the Switch, absolutely golden. And that is intentional.
There it is.
Thank you.
No, I need to cry. Tears of joy. But anyway,
and Persona 3 Portable, fantastic.
No, so good. I think I played like a quarter of the 136 hours that I put into Persona 5 Vanilla in 2017. I played it on remote play on the Vita.
Yeah.
Because I just I couldn't fit in all the hours in time otherwise.
There is something we could talk about Persona-wise, which this could be... I mean, we should probably do a bit of research before talking about it at some point, but the way that they've handled this anniversary has been absolutely shocking, in my opinion. Absolutely shocking. There have been some good releases, but my God, did they build the hype up ridiculously. And, like, this was the final announcement of the anniversary, was that the games were coming out.
I didn't realize this was the... because they announced that calendar. Yeah, this was the last one?
This was the last one. So they announced one, like, arguably the biggest reveal was that they were bringing Persona 5, 4, and 3 to modern consoles. And then the final reveal, which everyone was, like, ridiculously hyped up about, because they did some concerts. They did some concerts, and they said that they said, they're not going to reveal any games at this concert. But they revealed that, Persona 3 and 4 coming out 19th of January. And people seem to, and myself included, were expecting that final announcement slot to stay open. But then they filled it in on the website, and the release dates for the games is the final announcement. It's like, you did such a good job building high, like, it was getting better and better and better and better and better. And it's like, the release date and the announcement should not have been separate specified announcements in your anniversary schedule. Real flat. So there's a lot of stuff where, like, I think it very much felt like they were going to culminate in, let's be real, it very much felt that they were going to culminate the entire thing with a Persona 6 announcement, especially because they kept teasing this white color that hasn't been used as a color scheme for any of the Persona. They were using, like...
That's what I remember.
All these different colors, and there were 6 colors, white being one of them, and everyone was like, white's going to be the main color for it, blah, 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 blah. And, nothing. So if they haven't got anything ready for announcement or show, fair enough. But they are definitely not innocent in saying that, you guys got yourself all hyped up for nothing. Like, we said there were going to be no announcements. They would, do you know what I mean? They set themselves up. They set everyone up to be disappointed. And I think I personally think it's pretty bad marketing, because a lot of people are pretty angry about that one. And yeah.
Well, look, that's probably, I think you're right. That's a thing for a bigger conversation. I don't know if, like, considering what we did get, I don't know if we can call the whole thing shocking. But no. that is a hell of a way to end. That is not.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, I didn't realize, because I remember, was that a year ago or something?
Yeah,
it feels like it. I remember talking to you about it and, like, speculating over the logo and what the white could mean, and, like, surely
it was a year
doing
ago.
This long of announcements, you're going to end with the new game. But jeez.
Yeah, no, this is
that is disappointing.
It's shocking from a marketing point of view, like the actual reveal wise. The content that they actually revealed and announced and stuff was pretty good. There was some pretty good stuff.
With, like, the art and stuff is high quality. The concerts are obviously high quality. They're some of the best music in gaming, and some of the best ways they perform it. There's still enjoyable stuff. But, like, how do you not cap it with 6?
Yeah.
How do you not do that?
Yeah. Like,
I wonder if something's changed behind the scene. I don't know.
It must have. It must have. Yeah. It must have, because there's no way that they... Do you know what I mean? Like, I really think that they intended on it, but they must have not. Like, something must have gone wrong in the background. So even all they needed to do was, like, a logo. or just an official announcement that it's in the works.
Do you remember when Persona 5 got its first tease?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so let me see if I can find the picture. I don't know. I actually bought a shirt from Redbubble with it because I was so hyped, and then I realized the unfortunate implications. Let me just get the picture for you. Right, there it is. That was like mid 2014, maybe even late 2013. Yeah. I got a shirt for that, and then I realized the implications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't know if I threw the shirt out or if it's in the back of my cupboard somewhere still. Like,
that's a cool teaser. But
yeah.
Oh wow.
That's what I thought, as like having just finished Persona 4 Golden like a year earlier. Yeah. Not even. So yeah. In fact, I found it saying hard to believe this was the first instance on the internet, but it ended up being 5 years before it actually came out. So yeah, don't know what's happening behind the scenes on the new one, but yeah. Anyway, back to the other stuff. I think it's just two left to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that is definitely a t-shirt. Fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know, like if we'll we'll
figure that out. Yeah.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, yes.
Persona 3 and 4
sorry, not
being
two
dated,
things.
Yeah, for January is fantastic. We also got the date for something else, which has a very special trailer. Splatoon 3 Amiibo has been dated. Barlow, take us through a similar level of energy if possible.
No, I can't possibly. The trailer for this is the real story. I mean, we know what the Amiibo unlock for Splatoon 3 Amiibo triple pack, including Small Fry, the best boy from the campaign. Mm-hmm. Your little pet. Some really cool stuff they unlock gear-wise, and they're dated for the 11th of the 11th, so a week before Pokemon, week after Harvest Stellar. But if you get a chance, the whole 2 minutes of the trailer is worth tracking down on Nintendo's channel. Because the announcer, who is not a new announcer, we've seen her do things in direct and stuff, but there is some serious over-the-top energy. Like, I don't know how to explain it in a family-friendly way. But yeah, she's just very excited.
She's very excited about random words, and she just keeps emphasizing things that don't need emphasizing.
Yeah, legit. It's really quite a trip. And yeah, like all I can think about most days is Splatoon at the moment. So very exciting to see that gear, but I didn't quite expect to get it in that package. And that probably does us for the news.
So like I was just looking at the t-shirt thing from the, like the original teaser for Persona 5 and trying to read it in like the way that she was just kind of like overemphasizing nonsensical words. So you are a slave. One emancipation. It's like that. It's well over the top, and it's well worth your time to watch. But yeah, those Amiibo coming, which is really cool. I don't think there wasn't really anything else. We made our statements about everything, and I don't think there was anything new anything else new that got announced. Splatoon,
you met Sonic.
I met Sonic at PAX, and he was very good. He was a gentleman, a scholar, and a friend. I've got some pictures with him, which is very nice. And I watched him fight someone dressed as Mario, which was really, really good.
I would love that.
And yeah, that was pretty dope. The other thing,
I watched someone propose to him while I was waiting to play the game, and nice. Apparently he said yes. So
good stuff.
Don't know what's happening there, but there's always a proposal at PAX.
I want a cosplayer dressed as Amy to come up and start a fight. That would have been wonderful. I just realised another thing. Splatoon 3 Splatfest is Pokemon themed. It's a crossover.
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that? Yeah, like that was also on the second day of PAX, and like, yeah, waking up to not notice that in time was a bit of an experience, because normally we'd be all over that. But it's literally a Pokemon crossover. It's very exciting. Fire, water, or grass. The Japan's getting some real world t-shirts designed after the in-game ones, and they look cool. And obviously we can't get them here because that's just how it works. But yeah, I'm gonna get on that grass train and hopefully win some sea snails.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
think it's
sounds
end of the
good.
month.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
I
a
reckon
very
it's
early
end of this month.
announcement.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's going to be really good. Like I'm really it's a really cool crossover. I think Splatoon Splatfests are really good ways of promoting content, like cross promoting content like that. Tetris 99 does it really really well.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think
Oh,
that they should
sorry.
do more.
Correction. November 11th, the same day as the very exciting. Sorry, I can't do the announcement. It's late at
Not
my house.
bad. Yeah.
The way you do it, but yeah, it's on the same day as the new Amiibos, and a week before Scarlet and Violet. Jeez, that's going to be
Oh, I
wild.
can't believe it. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. It's just gonna be yeah. It's just November's gonna be a hell of a month, and I really should have taken time off of work for it, but I haven't because I'm an idiot. But you know how it is. I guess the only other thing to mention is that Overwatch 2 released, and
Oh, yep. Everyone was talking about it throughout
yeah,
the first day. You couldn't get a game. People were DDoSing it, or that was the allegation. I was seeing screenshots from mates saying, "Oh, you are 460,000th in queue to merge your account." The account button to merge doesn't work for me anymore. On the first night, I had like 800 people in queue in front of me. Apparently on Xbox, people on PC were 2,000 and plus. I could only get a match on Switch. But it's definitely Overwatch. It's literally the same client, which is confusing some storefronts. Like they're literally overriding the Overwatch with Overwatch 2 in all places, which is, say what you will. But a bunch of my mates are back into it. It is free to play now, and it is still a very good game, like with the bones of it, the mechanics of it.
yeah,
Lucio is still very much fun to play and has a new default skin, and that's about all I can say because I've mostly been playing Splatoon. But yeah, competitive shooters having a
yeah,
moment just before, in between all the RPGs and
yeah.
just before the big hype stuff.
Sonic.
So yeah,
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. There's a lot of it's gonna be a hype few months, so that's what I'm excited for. But I guess the next thing with the standard way that we close our podcasts is to ask what you've been playing.
well, I've kind of been weaving that in. So if you've been playing
Haven't
anything
you?
that wasn't a PAX, you let me know.
No, pretty much the same sort of games actually. I haven't started anything new particularly. And I mean, if you're not aware already, I'm really excited for Sonic Frontiers.
You might be able to tell from the runtime that we are very excited for Sonic and Pokemon.
Yes, it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be really really good. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at the moment. So yeah, I think we'll cut it there, and we'll let you get on with the rest of your day. We'll have another podcast. Hopefully, Zora will be back soon.
Oh, please let Zora be back soon.
Yes, we need the fact checking, and we need someone to break up our chats about Pokemon.
Bullshit,
Oh
basically.
my god, absolutely. So yeah, it's always a good time on the Just Playing Games podcast, as you can tell. I'm Master Trainer Peter, of course. You will be able to find me on what's currently MTP Gaming, but will likely be rebranded very soon. And we should be going up on Podbean from about within the week of this podcast releasing on there, as long as everything goes to plan. And yes, that's a little bit of an announcement. It should be going on podcast distribution sites soon, just once I've figured out the file issues. But yeah, Barlow, where can we find you?
On Instagram and various other places as Vagrantesque, VAGRANTESQUE.
Yes, so if you want to see the pictures of all the stuff that Barlow grabs games-wise, always a good time. There's always some good stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. We will see you in the next one. Take care. See you soon.